I mean, where the fuck should I really even start? What's good, YouTube? It's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul, and welcome to another remake video. Today, we'll be remaking Money in the Grave by Drake featuring Rick Ross. So let's get straight to it. First things first, let's go ahead and set our tempo to 100.5 beats per minute. It is actually a 0.5 in there. Not sure why. A little CC on the bass, put that in there, but she did. So it's 100.5 beats per minute. And let's go ahead and start off with the first sound in the song. We are going to go to synthesizer, and we're going to go to pad, and we're going to bring in a sound that's called airways. And let's go ahead and draw in that pattern. Duplicate that chord over. We're going to push this up 2 steps and this 1 step. And that chord progression just happens in the background repeatedly. And we're just going to take the root note here, B flat, and we're going to pitch it down 1 full octave. That's what creates that tension in the track itself. Next, let's go ahead and gonna adjust this EQ a little bit here. Let's go ahead and just cut out a lot of the highs. And let's cut out some of that bass so it leaves room for 808 when we add it. Alright, so that's it for that sound right there. Let's go ahead and create a new software instrument track and get to our second sound. So for the second sound right here, it's going to copy down the MIDI pattern, but we're going to take out this over here. And we're going to go over to our browser, and we're going to go down to Legacy, Jam Pack 1. We're going to go to Organs, and we're going to select the vocoder synth organ. This will just give us some top end in this pad. We're going to do a lot of layering in this track here. Alright, so let's go ahead and open up that EQ, and we're just going to go ahead and cut a lot of the top end out here. So let's pull that in. And we're just going to lower this in the background so it's not in your face. Just kind of blends in with that. Alright, that's good for that sound right over there. Alright, so for this sound here, we're going to copy down the same MIDI pattern as well. We're going to solo this out in a moment because we're going to draw in the melody pattern as well. But let's just go ahead and bring in another organ sound here. We're going to go to Vintage B3 organ. We're going to go to experimental, and we're going to go to vintage movie organ. And it sounds something like this. Gives us that spooky feeling. Alright, so for here, I'm just going to go ahead and put in the top melody as well. Alright, just going to take that top melody and just copy it over the 4 bars. Let me see if I just... I'll put the rotation to fast over there. And we're going to open up the EQ, and we're just going to filter out a lot of the highs once again. Maybe not that much. We'll filter out some of the low end as well. So now mixed in with the other sounds. All right, so now we're building it out. Next, let's start building out our top melody here. I'm going to create a new software instrument track. All right, so for this sound, let's go ahead and bring in Logic Sculpture. And I'm going to leave the default preset right now. We'll adjust it in a moment. But let's go ahead and copy down this melody pattern from there. We're going to take out that bass. We don't want it anymore. We're going to pitch this down 1 octave. And we're going to keep a sustain note on the B flat to give us that tension. All right, let's open up Logic Sculpture. We're going to move over the material here. We just want our top end here. We're going to start it from the top. Like I'm scared of the drop. We're going to pull up the attack so it's not so plucky. Pull this down a bit. All right, let's leave it something like that. And let's just go ahead and open up an EQ. And I'm just going to take out a lot of the highs. I'm going to take out a lot of the bass as well. All right, so something like that. Next, let's go ahead and create another software instrument track. All right, and for the sound, we're just going to copy down the MIDI pattern and solo these two. Actually, solo this on its own. And we're going to take out this bass pattern. We don't want it on every layered sound that we're going to have. And let's go over to our browser. We're going to bring in from synthesizer, and we're going to go to classics, and we'll go to micro pulse right over here. It sounds like this. Once again, working on that top end. All right, so we're going to leave that in there, but we're just going to push it down a lot. Maybe we'll pull up the attack a little bit here. All right, let's create a new software instrument track. All right, now let's go back to here. All right, and for this sound, we're going to go ahead and copy down the same pattern, and we're going to bring in Logic Sculpture. Let's solo out this sound. For this, we're going to go ahead and bring in a preset, modeled pad, and we're going to go to, I think it was artificial flavors. We're going to bring the material slider a little bit down to the left. All right, and then we're just going to go ahead and open up an EQ. Filter out a lot of the highs once again. Filter out some of the lows as well. But on this sound, let's just go ahead and open up Sculpture. And we're going to pull up the attack. So far we got this. All right, let's go ahead and create another software instrument track. A lot of layering in this one, like I said at the beginning of the tutorial. And we're going to copy down this pattern. And let's go ahead and go to pick up a sound. We're going to go to Legacy. We're going to go to Logic. We're going to go to Keyboards. We're going to go to Warped Organs. And then we're going to go to a suspense organ. Where is it here? Right over here. According to my notes, that's the one we want to use. But for this, I think we're going to bring back this melody right here with the sustained B flat. Let's pitch that up 1 octave. So let's go ahead and just mix that in with the other stuff over here. Push that down. All right, let's go ahead and add in one more sound. I know it's pretty crazy, but the sound itself is very complex. I'm not getting it exact, but we're using stock plugins here. So for this sound over here, we're going to go over to our user channel strip settings that I have put together in a previous tutorial. We're going to bring in the Air Bells channel strip. It's also part of my Mogul preset kit. I'll place the link in the description box below this video with channel strip settings for Logic Pro 10. I'm going to copy down this MIDI pattern over here. And it sounds like this. All right, I'm just going to open up the EQ, and once again, I'm going to cut out a lot of the highs. That's sort of the theme here. Gives us some dimension. Let's go ahead and mold that in with the other sounds. I'm going to go ahead and group all of these sounds, and we're going to create a new track stack. So we're going to sum up all those tracks and mold this sound as one. We're going to start off with our EQ, and we're going to, once again, filter out a lot of the highs. We're going to add in some resonance here. Let's cut out some of the lows. All right, that's it for that. Next, let's go ahead and bring in some overdrive just to bring out some of the midtones. So we're gonna bring in some distortion here. And let's bring down the drive. We don't want it to be too much in your face. Let's bring the tone down. Like that's good. Next, let's go ahead and bring in some chorus just to soften up this sound. All right, so I'm going to take that right there, but I'm going to bring it down a little bit in the mix. And then we're going to bring in a plugin that we don't typically use on this channel, but we probably should. We're going to go to multi-effects, and we're going to go to fat effects. And we're going to bring in a preset here. And we're just going to boost. We're basically essentially going to boost up the sound. So we're going to use it's a preset under drums called Booster. It sounds like this. It's subtle, but makes it a little bit fatter and fuller. And if we mix it in with everything else, we sort of have the main part of the track. So let's go ahead and duplicate this over a couple bars, and then on the 9th bar a switch up happens in here, or 2 more sounds come into play. All right, so let's go ahead and create a new software instrument track up here. We'll just keep our main pattern and our melody separate. We're going to draw in a pattern. Actually, let's just take this pattern right over here. Let's solo this out and bring in Logic's ES2 synthesizer. We're going to bring in a preset right over here. It's from another remake we put together, or tutorial, Ray Swermer Look Alive synth pad, and it sounds something like this. I'm just going to pitch this up, maybe 2 octaves here, and we're going to add in the sustained B flat for some tension, and this is really going to fill out throughout the verses when Drake sings and Ricky Rose. So it's going to give us a lot of the top end that we're missing, but we're going to cut off a little bit of that top end. We don't want it too bright. And let's go ahead and cut a lot of those. Doesn't sound good on its own, but once we mix it in, it adds another texture to the sound, high end that we needed. And then we're going to create a new software instrument track once again, and we're going to add in another sound here that creates like this atmospheric sound that's in the track itself. All right, so let's go ahead and just copy down this same pattern over here. We're going to bring in Logic Sculpture. And we're going to bring in a preset found under pads, and we're going to go to ambient pad, and it sounds something like this. Just going to pitch this down one octave, don't want it too high. Gives us a lot of tension, but we're going to go ahead and just open up an EQ, and we're going to cut out some of those lows. And let's leave it at that. Let's mix it in all together. All right, next is going to create a new software instrument track, and I promise you we are done with those sounds, or the layering at least. We're going to bring in now some of the drums. We're going to go to EXS24 sampler instrument and bring in the Money in the Grave drum kit. Make it nice and loud. And let's start off with the clap. All right, so we're going to put the clap on the 2s and 4s. Let's go ahead and duplicate that track, and we're going to bring in the hats. We're going to paint in a 16th note repeat. I think my hats are up here. Oh, sorry, maybe it's an 8th note repeat here. Let's just stretch this back out. Go something like this. Now for this sound over here, we're just going to go over to delay, sample delay. And we're just going to make the hi-hats a little bit wider by just delaying one channel by a couple milliseconds. Create that Haas effect. Just a neat trick to widen out your hats. Let's go ahead and duplicate that track. Draw in a MIDI region, take out that sample delay. And let's draw in that open hat. All right, we're gonna put it right here. Make it a little bit louder. All right, let's go duplicate this track, and let's draw in our hats. Sorry, our kick pattern. Let's go duplicate that over. We get like a double tap here. All right, next let's go ahead and duplicate this track, and let's draw in our 808s. Actually, for this one, we're just going to copy down the kick pattern. It's the same pattern. We're just going to go ahead and drag it down to our 808, and it's going to hit on the B flat, and we're going to set our mono on so they don't overlap. All right, so let's quickly arrange as we go here, because we're going to add in one more sound, and that is the snare sound that comes in. Whoa. Let's go ahead and duplicate this over. And then for this bar over here, we're going to go ahead and duplicate this over once again. but we're going to take out this last wind sound. And actually, maybe for here, for the verses, I think we're going to take out this here, just to create some differences. This will come back in. But the drums come out here, but just the open hat stays. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and copy this over. And for this section, the sound actually goes down 1 full octave. So I'm gonna take this out here, but for all of these, we're gonna select the regions and we're gonna go to transpose -12, so 1 full octave. And we're gonna do the same thing for this one. And for these two as well. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and create a new software instrument track. And we're gonna draw in a snare pattern that layers up the clap. Actually, for this, I'm just gonna go ahead and just take our clap sound. And I'm just gonna locate the snare. And take this out here. Take that as well, take that out. We're going to copy this over once again, but it's going to switch up on this side. Just a little bit. Let's go ahead and open up the pattern. And it goes like this. We sort of get like a 2-hit snare at the end here, and here as well. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just quickly arrange this and I come right back and we will take it from there. All right, so here is the quick sort of arrangement right here. It takes us up to Rick Ross's point and it just loops and repeats itself. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Listen to Remake we just put together, Money in the Grave by Drake, featuring Rick Ross, produced by Lil CC on the bass. Sorry, just Lil CC. Let's get straight to it. Here we go. So that right there is Money in the Grave by Drake featuring Rick Ross, produced by Lil CC. For your Logic users out there, I'm going to go ahead and save this entire session for you guys. Place that as a downloadable link in the description box below this video. For your non-Logic users out there, got your back as well. I'm going to go ahead and export all the MIDI stems, audio stems, and of course include the drum kit and sounds that you heard in this remake. You can find that entire playback in the description box below this video. If you do have any questions on this or just want to chat, let's go ahead and talk in the comment section below. If you did like this video, a thumbs up, share it, and of course hit that subscribe button for more good videos like this one. I'll talk to y'all soon. Later. Peace.